Let's talk to former Met Police Detective Peter Bleksley. Peter, I'm sure this is like quite you must have experienced this many times where governments talk big about we're going to invest in policing, thousands more officers, but the truth is they take more and more money away from policing. You've got 10 forces. This is Bedfordshire, Cambridgeshire, Essex, Hertfordshire, Kent, Lincolnshire, Norfolk and Suffolk have all written to Yvette Cooper to say, well, last week you said 13,000 more bobbies on the beat. Well, the money that you're giving us to run our police forces, we have to get rid of thousands of officers. These are two conflicting stories, right?
The truth of the matter is, politicians' talk is cheap, policing is expensive, and therein lies the problem. Let me first deal, as I fire up my bulldozer to drive through your glint of optimism from the earlier story that tumbled from both Yvette Cooper's lips and Keir Starmer's, about 13,000, more police officers on the streets. I'll be charitable and say it's misleading. No, I won't. I'll tell the truth. It's a lie. OK? That 13,000 is made up across 4 different strands. About a quarter of those officers are going to be taken from pre-existing roles. So they're already fully fledged, trained, signed up police officers who will be taken away from doing what are already important jobs. That's the first point. Another quarter or so of this 13,000 will, if the police can recruit them, be brand new bobbies. But of course, policing is in the midst of a recruitment and retention crisis at the moment. In fact, during 1 month this year, the Metropolitan Police didn't recruit a single soul. Now, the next tranche of this 13,000 are going to be newly recruited police community support officers. So they're going to be those people that wear uniforms and have all the powers of arrest that you, me, your listeners and viewers have got. And finally, the last quarter or so, the last 3,000, are going to be volunteer special constables who, whilst they are very well-meaning members of the public who step forward to do their bit, they do the sum total of 4 hours a week. There's the truth on your 13,000.
Meanwhile, I mean, I think the overriding truth is that police chiefs always have to struggle with government budgets. The government, as you said, they always talk a good game. We're going to increase policing, we're going to make the streets safer. But the truth is they always take money away from police chiefs, and police chiefs have no alternative but to decrease the number of coppers policing any given area. And I feel, first of all, I agree with you. I don't think these 13,000 bobbies on the beat will ever materialise. But this other situation, 10 police chiefs writing to Yvette Cooper to say we just haven't got enough money, is very alarming. But 'twas ever thus. I would say to these police chiefs, well, maybe you could recalibrate the way you operate your police forces and maybe don't have 25% of coppers never leaving the police station. 1 in 4 coppers never leaves the police station. They just basically do clerical jobs. We'll get them out on the streets. And maybe, just maybe, what I would do, I'm sure this would be seen as way too radical, but I would just stop investigating tweets and Facebook posts, because that takes up a lot of coppers' time unnecessarily. And finally, of course, let's completely scrap non-crime hate incidents, which also take up a lot of the police time for no reason whatsoever. So a little bit of recalibration of the way the forces are run might make them more efficient.
And if you added to all of the very laudable stuff that you've just spoken about, if you added into the mix that the police could prove that they were preventing crime, solving crime, detecting it, increasing conviction rates, all of that would be very, very powerful material with which they could go to the Home Secretary and say, look, we're making a difference. Crime is coming down, but we want to do more. But because, unfortunately, the performance levels of most of our police services are so lamentable, and consequently crime does pay, and if any of us become victims of crime, you've got pretty much close to zero chance of getting a prompt, professional and successful investigation into that crime. Yes, if they could pull their socks up around all of that, it really would help their argument.
But why do they spend, all of our police forces, why do they spend so much time, well, first of all, on non-crime hate incidents? The slight problem there is they're actually required to do this at the moment, according to the Home Office. But just how enthusiastically they go about it, I think, is the question. They're way too keen on this. Why do they spend so much time on this nonsense? Why do they spend so much time, investigating or patrolling the tweets and not patrolling the streets? Why is that, Peter?
Because for the last 25 years or so, senior police officers and consequently the services that they lead have been in the grip of academia. All these senior cops these days have gone off to university and successfully gathered their degrees, their master's degrees, their business degrees, their doctorates, and all that kind of pseudo-intellectual, unnecessary academic claptrap. And they brought their brainwashed ideologies back into the services that they lead. They only recruit their own types. So if you want to climb the ranks, you have to be one of those ideological kind of fools who knows very little about frontline policing. They all wanted to get away from frontline policing as quickly as they possibly could because they don't understand what frontline policing is about. They've got next to no operational experience. They've risen without trace. They live in an echo chamber and they are completely disconnected from the needs of the general public.
Couldn't agree with you more. Peter, we could talk about the failings of the police all night, and I keep saying they should put you back in charge of the Met or make you the boss of the Met. That we sorted out.